Let's talk about Doctor Who. Again, it's weird to me that we've talked so much about Doctor Who on this channel because generally in real life I don't have that much to say about it. For the most part, the main reason that I like Doctor Who is because it's one of those shows that I can watch and not really think that hard about. There's a lot of really open concepts and storytelling in that show, like all of time and space and devices that can do anything and stuff. So when I try to think too hard about it, I just mess up my brain. So for the most part, Doctor Who is just one of those shows that I can watch and thoroughly enjoy and not feel the need to think too hard about. But today I just think we're going to do that anyways. For the most part, I'm just going to talk about the latest episode that was released last week, I think, which is the first episode in sort of a new arc that's going on, so I don't think there's that much that I can spoil, but just in case, consider this your warning. In regards to the entire show, a big complaint that a lot of people have is that it takes place on Earth way too much, which I guess in the grand scheme of the concept of the show is a valid complaint, because the Doctor has a machine that can go anywhere in time and space, meaning any place that ever existed at any point in time, ever. So the fact that like half of the episodes take place in London doesn't make any sense. And that rationale absolutely does make sense, but every time I watch the show, I keep finding that more and more of my favorite episodes are the ones that take place in London or someplace else on Earth. Because sometimes, which is interesting, I feel that the unlimited concept of Doctor Who sometimes handicaps the show. I feel that a lot of times whenever the show branches out to new planets and galaxies that we've never seen before, they tend to be the most ridiculous and the most boring. And I don't mean any of the galactic creatures that are already established in the show, like the Daleks or the Cybermen or the Weeping Angels or any of those. I mean whenever there's a one-time episode where we go to a new place, meet something new, and have an adventure with it. Because the episodes like that usually follow the same cycle and the same formula, which is Doctor and companion land in some strange new place, meet some strange new species, and you have to spend a ridiculous amount of time explaining and figuring out who this new species is, and what they do, and what they want, and why they're bad guys and stuff like that. And it's only then that those episodes can really get into the action and adventure. And I think more times than not, this happening from time to time inhibits the show, because a lot of times you have to take so much time out of the episode learning about this new bad guy that by the time it gets to that adventure part, you don't really care anymore. So a lot of times the show kind of locks itself into a corner, because unless the villain is a human being, or one of those space villains that we've known about for the entire show, then the episodes can get kind of boring. This does kind of segue into what I want to say about The Bells of St. John, which was the newest episode that was released last one of the days. So The Bells of St. John is basically the kickoff of another big story arc within another huge story arc that hasn't been solved yet. Basically what this whole thing is going to be is that the Doctor is interested in this girl named Clara Oswald who has died twice in front of his eyes, but she keeps coming back in different time periods under different names and stuff, and he wants to explore that. So he ends up finding her in 21st century London, and they go on an adventure. This episode is very fast-paced and hilarious and exciting and good, and I think the location, time, and villain have a lot to do with that. It takes place in the 21st century in London with a bad guy we know, human beings, and the weapon they're using is something that we recognize. So now all the time that would usually be used in explaining the backstory of this new villain that you've never heard of, they can use all of that extra time to flesh out and tell this new story better. What I've been saying this whole video about how sometimes Doctor Who tends to slip into repetitiveness and things that no one really wants to hear about also applies to the new companion, Clara Oswald. Not against the character in particular, I think she's great, but where the story is taking her. Clara Oswald has appeared in 3 episodes thus far, and in 2 of them, she died. And the Doctor has basically just stumbled upon her in different areas of time and space. And each time, it's as if she's never met him before. She doesn't remember anything about him, so she has to relearn all of the Doctor-y things over again. So essentially, every time her and the Doctor go on a space-crazy adventure, it's the first time it's ever happened to her. I was very interested to see where this storyline would go because I like the concept of a Doctor randomly finding the same girl in different areas of time and space. But at the end of The Bells of St. John, instead of her dying again, we get the usual companion spiel. You know, the whole, this box, it's not just a spaceship, it's a time machine. Do you want to come with me? Oh, it's bigger on the inside! But now I keep asking myself, if after 5, 6, 7 episodes of this happening over and over again, would I like it anymore, or would it just be repetitive and annoying? So maybe it is a good thing that Clara just goes into the TARDIS with the Doctor at the end of The Bells of St. John like every other companion. I don't know, I guess we'll see. Anyways, The Bells of St. John was a very good episode, a very nice return. Hopefully that little arc will wrap up before the thing with the silence does, if ever. It's getting very complicated, I don't know. See ya, that was day 6.